What is going on, everybody? This is another challenge tutorial all about undermining. The exact definition is undermining, also known as removal of the guard or removing the defender, is a chess tactic in which a defensive piece is captured, leaving one of the opponent's pieces undefended or underdefended. The opponent has the unpalatable choice of recapturing or saving the undefended piece. A possible response is to sacrifice the piece whose defense was undermined before capturing the piece which just took the defender. This position we're starting off at, I've been in this position several times in the Scandinavian. It is white to move, and we'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The proper move is capturing the knight with check, and that is the defender for the queen. Black has 3 options. If it captures the bishop, then the queen falls on d4. If they block the check and bring the queen to d7, then we can capture their queen for checkmate. Or if they run with the king, first capture the queen with check, forces the king to c8. Queen d7 check forces the king to b8. Then either queen d8 or e8 is checkmate. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The move is bishop capture f6 check, and black's move is forced to king to g8. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. Rook capture g5 checkmate. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move here is rook to d8 check. The king is not going to move because then we can just pick up a rook for free, and black's best move from here is just escaping the capture. So instead, black is going to capture our rook, and then we can go ahead and pick up their queen for free. And it's going to be definitely a earned victory, but this is a winning position for white. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause. 1, 2, and 3. The move is rook from c2 to c8 check, and black will reply with capturing with their rook that's on a8. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The move is rook to c8 check, and that's removing the defender of the queen. The king is going to go ahead and capture our rook, and then we can pick up the queen for free. If it just tried getting out of the check with a move like d7, then that queen now has 2 attackers, and it can get picked up, and checkmate would be really shortly after. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. This is pretty tricky because we are removing the defender not from a piece but for a square. Rook to b8 check forces black to capture with the bishop. And we'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. That first move removed the bishop from guarding the d8 square, so now we can bring our queen to d8 for checkmate. This position might be a little tricky. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. You might think that capturing the rook would be the best option, but it's not. Capturing the knight is, because it's going to double their pawns, and you're removing the defender for the rook. That's a minor piece. So once they recapture, now we can pick up the rook, and they're forced to mess up their pawns even more with the recapture, and the computer actually gives this position about 4 in white's favor. In this position, it is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move here is bishop captures c4 check, and black is going to capture the bishop, otherwise the rook would fall immediately. And we'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. If you found b3 check, that's a winner. king has to back up somewhere along the 5th rank, either b5, c5, or d5. And once they do, we're good to pick up the rook, and we should win shortly after. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The only winning move is knight to d8 check. And black's going to go ahead and capture our knight with theirs. That's on b7. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. The knight was defending the pawn on d6, and now that we have removed that defender, we can go ahead and pick it up with our rook with check. And regardless of what square the king backs out of, we can go ahead and pick up the rook on h6, and victory will follow shortly after. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. The best move here is capturing the knight on e5 and opening up the light squared bishop. Black is going to recapture, and we'll give you 3 seconds to pause for the continuation. 1, 2, and 3. We removed the defender for the c6 pawn, so now we can go ahead and capture that with our bishop, and that comes with check. Regardless of where the black king moves to, we can go ahead and pick up the rook in the corner now, and after the knight picks it up, we're going to be in exchange up. This position is rich in tactics, and we're going to finish up here. It is white to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to start things off with capturing the knight on h7 check, and black's hand is forced. The only move is recapturing with the queen. White to move. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. Since we removed the defender of the pawn on f6, we're good to capture that now with check. And black's hand is forced once again to block with the queen on g7. Give you 3 seconds to pause the video. 1, 2, and 3. We've got to slow down here. We do not capture the rook on d8 yet. We actually swing our queen down to h4 with check. And they got 2 ways to block. They can block on h6 or h7. If they blocked on h6, that would be game over. So h7 is the square to be. And we'll give you 3 seconds to pause to continue. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're good to go ahead and pick up the rook on d8, and that's check. Black has 2 options. If it blocked with the queen, then we could capture it with our queen, and that would be checkmate. So they're going to run with the king to g7. We'll give you 3 seconds to pause from here. 1, 2, and 3. We cannot capture the knight because then black would have the move queen to h1 check, and we would have to give up the queen, and that's game over from there. So instead, what we have to do is bring our queen to e7 with check. And black has 2 squares that they can go to. If they go to the corner, it's simply queen to f8 check. They got to block with the queen, and then it's capture with checkmate. Instead, if they go to h6, then it's queen to f6 check, and they would have to block with the queen, and then we can capture for checkmate.